Welcome to My Parents Lied to Me, the podcast about navigating aging, loss, and all the midlife changes no one warned us about. I'm Nicole Porter, here with real stories and expert advice to help you face what's now and what's next. Hi, welcome to my podcast, My Parents Lied to Me. I'm Nicole Porter, and I have a really special guest and friend here today, and her name is Shannon Harris. And she's an interior designer. We met a few years ago. She had a different business, and now she's kind of pivoting, and she has something really cool to talk about, neurodesign. And I just wanted to bring her on today and let her tell you all about the amazing things she's up to.
Thank you.
Shannon.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.
No, I'm so glad you're here. I just want to introduce you to my audience. And, as I started Your Parent Porter this year, I have been talking to more adults about their homes and the safety of their homes. And, I really wanted to get you involved because I know that with aging in place and universal design, that renovating the house is very important. And you just have a whole new concept that you're working on that's even cooler than just the universal design that I learned about.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring you on. You're welcome to talk about Fuse Living and where you came from and what you're up to now.
Yeah, so as you know, I've been in the design world for 14, 15 years. I actually started in new construction development and always had a focus on healthy homes. And so at that time, it meant like sustainability or green materials. I always focused on the output of materials and to some degree mental health and psychology behind design. And that psychological story just continued to grow and grow and grow in passion for me. And that's what eventually has led me to the neuroaesthetic world and what I'm saying is neurodesign. And so you mentioned pivoting. So this past summer, I actually have pivoted my Fuse Living business, which was the new construction developments as well as custom client projects. So full remodels, new construction document sets, furniture packages, kind of everything in the design world. And I'm pivoting to home self neurodesign.
Okay.
What I'm super excited about in the pivot is actually a lot of self-discovery with clients. And so just through different life journeys, all along, and especially in the last couple of years for me personally, it's this deep-rooted awareness of who you are, what phase of life you're in, and how our sensory environment can really enhance or take away from what's happening on the inside.
It's very interesting. So like big life transitions, or is it just aging, or like what is a transition that people would consider, changing their whole home environment versus, you're a mother, so maybe you have young kids, maybe when the kids are older and gone, are those the different life transitions you're talking about? And how does that change the design of the home as people get older, age, whatever?
Yeah. So all of those things, right? You could be a new parent. That's a transition, a big transition. You could be an empty nester, also a big transition. You could be, entering into your retirement, big transition. You could be getting a divorce. You could have some traumatic event, whether it be within your household or outside of your household, that's, kind of forcing you to reinvent yourself or think about life differently. So it's all of these moments where you're starting to kind of reassess who you are, what your purpose is, maybe what your values are, right? And kind of bring those into home. And so it's not always a massive undertaking. It's not always looking at the macro picture. A lot of what I'm doing is the self-discovery unit so we can look at the micro and make micro shifts to really enhance what is happening on the external world right now. So that way it kind of holds you and cradles you on that internal world.
Ooh, what is that micro look at people's lives look like?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily so when I say micro, it is the environment, right? Okay. So what's the scene that's around you for any different state of being in your home or for any goal that you might have, generally speaking, in life? How do you create a little micro scene that really enhances that and speaks to that?
Okay.
And I say that because when we look at neuroaesthetics, right, that's really, again, the sensory experience, different textures, different patterns, different shapes, different sights, different smells are going to light up different parts of our brain. And so we can really use the neuroscience to activate different emotional centers and productivity centers and cognitive fatigue and restoration. And so there's really a lot that goes into it from the neuroscience perspective. And when we pay attention to all of those and like, what is the output what is the goal of the output, right? And so how do we, again, design like a little microscene or just make a shift to say, this reminds me of a time when I felt this way. And so I'm going to put it here because I want to feel this way in this phase of my life again. And then I also know I'm growing into this. So I'm going to pull in some other things that, speak to that future me or that future phase.
Okay. I kind of understand you, but I would like to like maybe even talk about it, just like give more of a sample. Like, so I'm sitting in my office. I'm going through an identity change. I lost both my parents and I'm still a single woman, midlife. I'm in my 40s. And so what has been comfortable for me before is no longer comfortable.
Right.
I don't enjoy the same things I used to enjoy. I'm finding that there's all these new things. So how would you take somebody like me with that experience going, okay, let's create this. Like, what does that look like? If I say, Shannon, I need you to come into my house and I don't feel comfortable in my space anymore. Like, how do we fix this?
Yeah. So that's where the self-discovery comes in a lot. And so I literally have like a values worksheet for people. I have a questionnaire that goes through a lot of those questions, like how are you feeling? How do you want to feel? What's something that you really resonate with that's like a nostalgic either color or a nostalgic art piece or whatever it might be, some kind of thing or accessory that is nostalgic to you, right?
Okay.
And then where do you see yourself in 5 years? Not even where you see yourself, because if you're in a trauma state, right, like you might not even be able to see beyond that current state. So how do you want to feel in a year from now, Nicole? How do you want to feel in 5 years from now? And so a lot of it really is feeling based, and the work will go as far as the depth that people will go, right? And so if you really open up and you're like, well, I would really like to feel stress-free. I would really like to feel financially secure. I'd really like to feel like I can love and be super, vulnerable. And so like we kind of play off that. Mm-hmm. And then again, we bring in the different elements that speak to those feelings while also mitigating the threatening objects, right? The things that might have like a bad connotation from a past memory, the things that like a rigid corner or a jagged edge is going to literally trigger your fight or flight response subconsciously without you even knowing. And so for me, it's truly understanding where you've been and where you're going.
Okay.
And so I just lean on that self-discovery piece a lot.
Okay.
To really get to that outcome for you.
So is it intuitive work or is it...
Yes, it's a combination.
Okay.
Again, I mean, as much as any client is going to put into it is what I'm going to be able to use to kind of extrapolate, right? But it is also, like, I'm a very energy person, energy-based, frequency and intuitive also. So I definitely loop that in and back layer that in, along with the science of knowing what materials speak to us subconsciously in different ways, and along with how you're responding.
Ooh, that's interesting. What, like, materials? Tell me more about that. Like, how do materials speak to you?
Speak to everybody, not just me.
Well, speak to us.
Yes, speak to us.
Yes.
So anything like this table in front of us has a bit of a fractal pattern, right? And fractals are geometries that are found in nature. Like you look at the pattern of a leaf or the wing of a butterfly and the way like it all comes together, that's a fractal pattern. Fractal patterns, because they are living within our bodies, they're living in nature everywhere, those are actually really restorative to us. And so when you have small scale, like mosaics are kind of coming back in the design world. And I love this so much because it actually is a fractal pattern that has the ability to restore our minds, our cognitive fatigue, because we just kind of zone out on those in a way that feels super natural to us because it is something that happens in nature.
Interesting. Do the fractal patterns, would those mess with your eyesight and things like that? So, when I talk about aging in place, they talk about depth perception and people's vision changes. So would those fractal patterns mess with people's ability and balance and things like that?
I don't think it would mess with balance. I mean, I think it's like, well, what is it shiny? Is it not shiny? Is it matte? Is it textured? Because there's a lot that would go into that too, right? Okay. And so lighting is very different for people who are aging. As we know, our sensory our receptors in our eyes, obviously degrade. And so lighting is a key importance, and shiny materials aren't going to do as well. So the matte materials, mosaics don't have to be, or fractal patterns, right? It again, could be anywhere. It could be in a rug, could be on a wall, could be in just a texture of a pattern.
Okay.
Or a fabric.
I didn't think about that. Like, the shine versus a matte,
right.
And how it affects the eyes.
Shine is interesting because, like, if we go to, again, like the biology and the science of how we're subconsciously responding to things, so it's kind of double layered, right? So shine can also give us a sense of hope and optimism, because if you go back to way long ago when we were cave people, right? Like you're just exploring through the world and you see a pond and you're like, yes, there's survival, right? So it kicks off this like safety of my survival needs have been met because there's water in front of me.
Okay.
And we're not that far away from genetic or from evolution that instinct has been lost. And so we see a shiny object or we see a glass top table, and that still kicks off that same like hopeful, safety, optimistic, I feel my needs are met right now.
Oh, interesting.
And then on the flip side, like the very logical shine, right, can cause glare and can cause like these more kind of physical negatives.
Okay.
So
you got to find that, like,
you got to find that
perfect gleam and shine on something in the house.
Yes, you just have to know all the different ways that, a shine affects you and use it appropriately. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I like that.
I know, I get really geeky really quick. So we can dial it back if we want to get out of the weeds a little bit.
No, but I think that's really cool because you're not just an interior designer. And I think that's important to like share with people that just because you pick an interior designer doesn't mean you're going to get the same results. And
Absolutely.
Like you have a totally different knowledge base than, a traditional aging in place. I mean, I've gone to some of these senior expos and the people that are doing the bathrooms and showing like they're shiny, they're boring, they're ugly. I can't imagine that bathroom that they're going to build you is going to make you feel any better.
Yeah.
Maybe you're safer, but I don't know that it's going to make you feel better
right.
about living in your home.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's really cool that I have you as a resource that I can refer to my clients, because being in your home is a feeling. And it's super important as we age because, I think it's like 60% of adults over 65 want to stay in their home for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
So if they are going to make upgrades and modifications to the home, like I want them to have the best experience about that. So they don't outgrow the home or, decline in the home.
Yeah.
So I think it's super important to introduce concepts like yours to my clients.
Right. Well, and it's like, you wake up sometimes you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, but like, let's mitigate that as much as possible, right? Especially as you're getting older, because you might not know what in your environment is actually affecting you in a negative way. And you just wake up grumpy all the flipping time. But if we can make those shifts and those changes, because those threatening cues aren't speaking to your subconscious anymore, you're going to wake up happier. You're going to be able to sustain your mood in your home for the longevity.
How do you figure out if you're waking up if you're having that wake up on the wrong side of the bed feeling every day? How do you figure out that it's your home that's doing it to you?
Good question. It's an awareness, right? Okay. And it's like, this is sort of the framework and the knowledge base that I'm starting to speak about. And I think more people becoming aware of it and becoming aware of paying attention to how their environment not only looks visually, but what sounds are involved. Like, what are the aesthetic, what are the tactile senses that are getting experienced and ignited, It's like with anything right now, it's just a heightened awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I can see that. You get the sheets or the comforter, or a quilt or whatever on your bed that, eventually you're just like, this just doesn't bring me joy anymore.
Right.
And I have to change it out and I want it gone.
Yeah.
Like if I have to look at this quilt one more time.
Well, and I love that you brought up beauty, because even as a designer, like I always knew there was deeper depths. And so for me to go and just like design by pretty things, like I had such a struggle, almost an identity crisis of calling myself an interior designer for most of my career, because I couldn't be a person that was just there for beauty. And now on the flip side, like actually studying the science behind beauty and how it makes us feel and all, and I'm like, well, duh, it is a huge part of it. Like there's nothing to be ashamed of for wanting to be around a beautiful space.
No, I agree.
Absolutely nothing to be ashamed of in that.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. So do is everything that you're doing now, is it all based on neurodesign, or are you doing traditional? I don't even know if you call it traditional, because like you said, it's kind of all coincides together.
Yeah.
But are you introducing this to all your clients, or do people just come to you and go, I want this room to be blue,
yeah,
and can you make it everything blue in here?
Yeah.
Or do you really like make sure that they go and do the inner work and like, are you sure you really want blue? Like, is that the color you're looking for? Is
Yeah.
that going to make you feel good? Why are you picking blue? Like, is that some of the questions?
It is now. So I had Fuse Living, which was the custom client world, and then I started Home Self about a year ago, and I created a digital program to take people through just the self-discovery units. I would meet with it's a whole 4-week program, and so I would meet with people a couple of times in that 4-week period. They would do a lot of work. We would meet. They would go and do like more kind of exercises and just awareness exercises, right? And then we would focus the last and final week. We would focus on a specific area of the home that we could make those micro shifts to.
Okay.
And now just this summer, I've kind of merged the two, because it became this thing of like, why do I have these two different efforts going on at the same time when they really are rooted in the same thing, which is home and home design? And so I merged them. So now I do offer that 4-week program, which I take every client through a discovery period anyway of preferences and taste and flow and function and just like more traditional home-oriented questions. And now I say, okay, you also have access to the Home Self Signature program, and dive deep if you want to dive deep, and your project will have a much better outcome, right? And so I'm starting to offer that to all of my clients.
Very cool.
Also, I mean, I've always kind of looped in the psychology, and I've always looped in, like, I've back layered the entire time. For a decade, I've back layered stuff.
Right.
And it's like, people feel so good in their space. Or you walk into a restaurant, right, and you're like, this feels so good. I don't know why, but I just feel so good in here.
Right.
It's like, well,
do you use a feng shui at all in your design? Or
I mean, I know a little bit about feng shui. It's very much more energetic and energy based. And me personally, I've always been a science person, and so I like the science aspect of the neural pathways and how our body is actually truly responding to things. So I tend to lean on more the neuroscience aspect than the feng shui. Yeah.
Do you see, like, a lot of people are talking about the neural pathways now? I know we're in the personal development.
Yeah.
We're personal development junkies ourselves. So, like, I get the concept, but, like, do you really have to, like, explain it to your clients, or are they naturally attracted to that because they're in that space of, like, learning about the neural pathways and the scientific part of things?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, I think at this point, to speak to energies, it's like, because I'm at this frequency of what I'm doing, like, those are the types of people that are coming my way at this point too. So they have
attracting them.
Yes, there we go. That magnetism.
Manifesting them.
But so most people understand it. And there are some people who are taking it deeper. And if they're also in the, kind of growth mindset world and self-development world already, then those are the ones who are taking it really deep. And others, I would say take it about 50% of the way of, someone who's like really on their growth journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, where do you see this taking off? This is a new business for you. I know you and I personally have talked about mold in houses and how that affects your health and things like that. And I know you have some other passions that you're working on as far as like home health and toxicity and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, if we had another 20 minutes, I would go into it. But I think the baseline is, what I truly am passionate about in life is holistic view of how we're living. So that is within our home space. That is out. Like, what does your outdoor life look like? What is your internal world from that spiritual and kind of safety, security look like? And what does the physical look like? And so really looking at what it means to be whole human and bridging all those things together.
I like that.
So with the neural work and home self, and then, the mold, man, I can't go down this rabbit hole right now. It's it's a big one.
We have a little bit,
but I won't.
So, I mean, you don't have to go all the way down that rabbit hole, but like, as far as products and things like that, are you using like clean products, natural products, fabrics, textures, other chemicals? Like, how much does that affect people's home environment and how important is it? I mean, I don't see everybody. I mean, obviously we're not doing lead-based paint anymore. That's been a thing since 78.
Yeah.
And our whole form on it in real estate. But like, are you still using paint with toxins, or are you only using clean things?
Yeah.
And like, some people are just going totally off the wall with it. So how much does it affect you, and how important is it? And like, what's your blend and balance?
I will say it affects 90% of people more than we know.
Okay.
Especially if we're in the mold world and people who have environmental exposures to mold. There's something called CIRS, C-I-R-S, chronic inflammatory response syndrome.
Okay.
About 1 in 4 people have that gene, that if they are exposed to mold, that gene gets activated, and it's quite literally debilitating.
Oh, really?
And because I'm in that world, and I've visited the CIRS conference earlier this summer, and it's like there's just stories upon stories upon stories that people are literally just bedridden.
Wow.
And so that's trying to mitigate the mold in homes by how we're building. That's another group that I partner with, not my own thing, but it's a collective that we're, creating solutions to build without mold.
Right.
From a material standpoint, that same population, any sort of EMF waves or toxic chemicals have, at that point when they're really sick, the same kind of debilitating response to their system as mold does. And so it's really important to be super, super clean.
Interesting.
I myself don't have that gene, but I just also got tested for mold because it's my world. And I struggle with fatigue and brain fog, and I've been diagnosed with POTS before, which is completely separate.
Okay.
But similar responses as like a CIRS patient. And so I actually just found out about a month ago that I had mold in my system and other like gut fungal things going on. And since I've cleared out, it's been an absolute flippin' game changer. Absolute game changer. To my energy, to my output, to like everything. And so,
was it mold in the home, or just mold in general in your body, and you don't know where it came from?
I think it was an exposure back in like 2017 in one of my first homes coming back to Arizona. Yeah. Oh. So it's been a long time, because I've had POTS for almost that amount of time. Okay. And yeah, so my point being, even if you're not to the point of being on, kind of literally your deathbed, bedridden, right, it still affects majority of people. So all of this like lymphatic drainage stuff that we're talking about right now, all of this, like all of our body systems, all of these like autoimmune responses and sicknesses, right, it's environmental. Wow. 90% of the time it's environmental.
See, and that's a big thing I want to, focus on when I go into my clients' homes is, do they have, asking them those questions. Do you have fatigue, brain fog, things like that? And I mean, they are going to be an older population, over 50 years old probably. So, I mean, there is that natural decline, but like, is it chronic? So is it something that's in the house that's been affecting them? Like in my parents' house, I found black mold in the basement, and I'm just wondering, it was bad, but it was buried. So it's like, how much was it affecting my parents' health before they passed? I don't think that's the reason they passed, but I think eliminating the mold a lot sooner, like they could have felt a lot better, hopefully a lot longer in their lives. Because I know that there were so many years where my arthritis and I can't walk and the things hurt and body aches, and I just think of all of that. Yeah.
That's all inflammation from. I mean, I'm not a doctor. We do work closely, like our group that does this. We do work closely with a few mold doctors, like some of the top in the country, and so I know enough to play my role in all of that. But I can't speak to all the specifics. But it's that's the inflammation. That's right. Getting to the root cause of eliminating these environmental factors is going to change the game to a lot of the surface level symptoms that are getting misdiagnosed.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I want to be knowledgeable on too. Yeah. So I can advise my clients and give them resources and references and stories and, hey, I've heard this happen to this person. Yeah. Maybe we should look into this. I just want them to have a lot of options and understanding. So like, I'm trying to learn as much as I can myself. Yeah. And obviously I'm just going to know a little about a lot of things. But I feel that's one of my superpowers, so I can connect and refer my clients to the necessary resources.
Well, yeah, you're the home porter, so that is
Yeah.
your job and your role to bring and that's what it is, bringing the solutions, right?
Yeah.
So being able to identify what could be potential and then bringing the solutions to your clients.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing, by the way. I think
you.
it's just so unique and novel and needed. And, you know, like we've talked about vitality before,
Yeah.
and in my program, there's like a creation of a vitality stack,
Okay.
which looks very different than what you might think, right?
Yeah.
And so, but like that's what you're doing. You're providing solutions to create a new vitality in people's homes as they're in this final phase of life, and it's
Right.
awesome.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if like final phase folks had energy and they're like
Second
not
half,
just
best
moping
half,
around?
right?
I know.
That's where we're going with it.
Yeah.
So, of course, we talk all the time and have so many things that we can go into, but we're running out of time today. So can you just tell everybody again who you are, your business, and where they can find you?
Yes. So I'm Shannon Harris of Home Self Neurodesign. My Instagram handle is, because I just pivoted, it's at FuseLiving_HomeSelf. So kind of purging the Fuse Living name and introducing the Home Self. And yeah, I approach every design project with the neuroscience aspect, whether it be custom client or the signature digital program.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining me today. I am all about your home health, your home environment, and introducing you to other people and resources so that you live longer, happier, and healthier. Thank you. Thanks for listening to My Parents Lied to Me, where we face the realities of aging, family change, and midlife reinvention with a little grit and a lot of heart. If today's conversation helped you feel less alone, I would love for you to like it, share it with a friend, and hit follow so you don't miss the next story or tip that might help you navigate what's next. Because even if our parents didn't tell us everything, we're figuring it out one chapter at a time.